Howdy friends, welcome back to the channel. I'd like to dedicate this next song, an old Beatles classic, to the teabaggers. You say you want a revolution, well you know we all want to change the world. You tell me that it's evolution, well you know we all want to change the world. But when you talk about destruction, don't you know that you can count me out? Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Alright. You say you've got a real solution, well you know we'd all love to see the plan. You ask me for a contribution, well you know we're all doing what we can. But if you want money from mind's aid, all I can tell you, brother, is you have to wait. Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Alright. You say you'll change the Constitution, well you know we all want to change your head. You tell me it's the institution, well you know you better free your mind instead. But if you go carrying pictures of hooch and towel, you ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow. Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Alright. The only other time I've given my expressed opinion on world events is in the beginning and in the middle of that financial crisis. I pay attention to what's going on. I don't listen to hype. I check people's facts. There's a lot of people doing a lot of talking, like they know what they're talking about. And if you do some fact checking, not only don't they know what they're talking about, they're lying scumbags. There's some websites, factcheck.com, mediamatters.com. All I'll say to my friends and subscribers, I care when the rich people are screwing the poor people and taking the cream out of their coffee. Remember when the Bush administration was about to start that preemptive war against Iraq and they were crapping all over the French? Well, let me tell you something about the French. If it wasn't for the French, we wouldn't have beat the British. Study history. They've been good friends to us. Better than the type of friends, well, whatever, this last administration was to them. Remember, don't call them French fries, call them freedom fries. Why do you think the why do you think the past administration and all the right-wing nuts took such an issue with the French? Because in French history, when 3% of the population controlled over 95% of the wealth, sound familiar? The people took things into their own hand. They got out what they call the national razor, started lopping some heads off. Worked for them. I don't condone violence, but it's past Easter. And let me tell you one thing. When Jesus returns, this next time, he's not going to be in a good mood. He's not going to be little baby Jesus. He's not going to be the Savior that just endures being spit on, ridiculed, and lied about. He's going to be in a pretty foul mood. And I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of it. It's time for people to line up. If you want to line up with the rich, greedy folks, do it. I'm lining up with the working class. Take a look at that mine in West Virginia. That guy that said every law on the books for miners was written in coal miners' blood. That's a non-union mine. That scumbag's been running. And he's done everything he could to bypass all the regulations. And you don't have to tell me about that crap. I have my own experience of being screwed over by a company that's non-union. They would have never been able to alter evidence and do the scumbag things to me if it was a union shop. So, I know some pipeliners and some pretty rugged fellas, and these rich, whoever they are, calling them pinkies and calling them this and that. You won't call that to them, you won't say that to their face. So, I don't believe that we should take the law into our own hands, and I don't believe in violence. But friends, don't stand against financial reform, because if you do, you deserve to be screwed. Just hand them your money. It's the banks that screwed you. It wasn't the poor people. Bank of America is one of the biggest offenders out there, and there's quite a few more. If you have money in their banks, what? It's like feeding the crooks. Take your money out of that bank, put it into a local community bank, a credit union. Remember, this is a country we formed a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We need to return to that. Take care of the people. Who sold this country out to China? The poor people? No. The scumbags who just want a quick buck for themselves. We lost millions of jobs. You want to blame all this crap on this administration? I'm going to open up a political channel, because there's a time to be quiet, there's a time to speak. It's time to speak. God bless from the Gin Mill.